What's up, guys? It's Manga Time once again. I'm here today to bring you my review of Bleach 566, What Is Your Fear? When I read the title, I was like, okay, I know what this chapter's going to be about. Oh yeah, let's do this. You know, you guys know me. This is my favourite Sternritter. But that did bring me some slight concern, which I'll get into later. But that's pretty obvious what it is. But it starts off with actually a mini flashback of when Renji and Rukia are entering Sternritter. Or Vandenreich, whatever you want to call it. And basically, they're deciding on a plan. And you know, Renji says that they'll move around, beating up enemies, and then they'll meet up, and then they'll go into the palace. But that's not the plan. Basically, the plan is that when they get down there, they'll be surrounded, and basically that they have to kind of hide. Apparently, the plan is that when they defeat someone, they have to hide, so that they can then get the initiative on the enemy. Basically, they can get the jump on the next Sternritter. So that's what Renji does. And this is actually pretty funny. I wasn't expecting this either. But obviously now it's day 2, because it was morning at the end of last chapter. So Renji wakes up, apparently, which is quite funny. Yeah, he wakes up. He's actually fallen asleep in the middle of the Vandenreich castle now. I don't know, is that because he's become so arrogant that he thinks he can do that now? Or is it just Renji being Renji, maybe? But he says, you know, let's go find the next Sternritter, so he kind of jumps out the window. Excuse me. And then we get... I wasn't expecting this at all. There was someone hiding behind a pillar, going, is that guy serious? And it's actually Sternritter NaNaNa Najahkoop, who is the winner of the most ridiculous name in Bleach. If you remember NaNaNa, he was the one who battled Rose in the initial invasion, then tried to ambush Yamamoto, and got blasted. But yeah, he was still alive, and yeah, he's commenting. You know, it's kind of funny that Renji, he went to find out who took out Master Masculine. He found Renji asleep, thinking it was a trap. He decided to wait, but turns out Renji actually slept all the way till morning, and yeah, it's quite funny. You get a bit of a comedy moment with NaNaNa. And you know, he's like, you know, you wouldn't think that someone would just fall asleep in the middle of an enemy's camp. However, NaNaNa then gets really sinister. Actually, I think. And he's like, you know, too bad though, because this guy's out of luck now. And Renji obviously doesn't know that NaNaNa's there. Renji's flying away, and NaNaNa's watching him go. And NaNaNa says, I've never observed an enemy for this long. You're finished, Red Monkey. So what does that mean? What does that cryptic statement mean? Now, in my opinion, it's... NaNaNa's you is the understand. Maybe the understand, or something along those lines. If he observes an enemy for long enough, he's able to, I don't know, think up a way of defeating them, perhaps. Maybe that's what his visor is all about. I'm not really sure. But that's really interesting. I really didn't think that NaNaNa would be the one who takes out Renji, but if he is, then fair enough. But yeah, NaNaNa's pretty sinister, actually. And very ugly. But we don't get any more of that. Instead, we get Rukia, who's jumping around the place. And I called this. I called it would be Rukia versus Äs Nödt. I can't remember who, but I had people in the comments going, that's never going to happen, it's too random. Storytelling logic. It was Rukia versus Äs Nödt. But yeah, she's like, you know, I can't sense the Reiatsu of the Gote anywhere, but thanks to the drop of Reiatsu, I could pinpoint Vice Captain Kotetsu's location. And she's underground, because you can see the windows, and they're on the ground, but they're above her, so she's under the ground, and she's healing Rose and Kensei. So Rose will be back up and fighting. I'll just tell you that right now, because he has to fight Vasby, you know. I'm just saying. But she says that she can't sense any Quincy either. So she stops. She lands on a building top, and she says that, you know, if that's the case, I may as well wait and meet up with Renji. Then we'll invade the enemy's castle. They really can't think they're that powerful, surely. But it doesn't matter, because we get, oh, so good. It's so good. What a great way of bringing him in. She feels this hand touch her like that, but when she looks, there's nothing there, and you know, she's mega creeped out, and she's like, what was that feeling just now? Was that Reiatsu? Who are you and where are you? And then Äs appears, and his personality seems to have been, I want to say, changed a little bit since his first appearance, but I don't think it has. I think he was probably always like this. He's very giddy. He's very crazy, and he's very kind of bouncy. Just immediately I thought if any of you have played Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda, I got Zant feeling straight away off him. He's kind of like, are you scared? I can imagine him talking like the Joker. But he appears behind her, and he's like, I'm lonely. And she says, what are you? And he says, I'm lonely, I'm really lonely. And it's weird, he takes a step forward and there's a ripple, which is kind of strange. Then he says a fantastic line. But I think the giddiness kind of stemmed, because if you remember in the first invasion, he had that great picture when he stole the banker and he had that troll face on. That's all part of the giddiness, I think. But he has a great line now. He says, I'm really lonely, where is my Senbon Sakura? That is such a good line. Seriously, this guy, Kubo can't kill him off. This is why I'm worried now. Because I know he's going to kill him off, because Az is pure evil, pretty much. I don't think there's much redemption there. However, he's just one of Kubo's best characters. One of his best designs as of late. Great personality. And he just can't kill him off. He can't kill him off yet. But Rukia now knows who he is. She says, I see, you're the one who stole his bank. Äs Nödt, and she draws his unpocked toe. Az is also now wearing fingerless gloves with spikes around the cuffs, which he was never wearing before. But he unclips his jacket and reveals what he looks like underneath. Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty creepy looking, alright. He has spikes around his wrists, like I said, fingerless gloves, and he's just got loads of buttons. Yeah, he looks creepy as hell. He looks really cool, and he's like, you know, I know who you are, you're Kuchiki Byakuya's sister, Kuchiki Rukia. Where is Kuchiki Byakuya? And Rukia says, I have no obligations to tell you, and Kubo just goes all out with Äs Nödt's facial expressions. He's like, if I take your head, he would come here, wouldn't he? And his eyes are like really wide and creepy. And there's a kind of sketchy look about well, I suppose they're pupils. But Rukia's like, yeah, I wouldn't be so sure about that. And then Äs Nödt looks creepy as hell again. His eyes kind of, and then he summons all of his light arrows. It looks awesome. Like, there's definitely a Gothica vibe going on here. But yeah, he sends some of the arrows towards Rukia. Now, this is when it gets a little confusing as to what actually happens. But basically, when the arrow hits the building, a black kind of ooze begins to spread out. Now, I think it's like a Respirar, but slower. So yeah, she freezes his light arrow. Shode no Shirayuki freezes his light arrow, but he's like, aha, again. And the ooze that comes out of the arrow and bursts through the ice and gets her, basically. He's like, you know, it's no use, ice won't protect you from fear. So Rukia gets hit by the fear arrow, and Az is just like, aha, and I'm sure he's bouncing around. I'm sure that's what the lines mean. But he's like, you know, you're frozen, aren't you? There's no helping it. That is fear. That is the embodiment of fear. And it's a really weird panel. I think he's upside down and his eyes are rolling up again. Great character. Oh, he's so cool. And you know, Rukia's like, so this is fear, is it? And he's like leaning over. It's so freaky. And now this is where the title of the chapter comes in, and I wasn't expecting it to be asked in this context, but it's Rukia asking Äs Nödt what your fear is. He's like, so what's your fear? And Az is like, what? And Rukia, with this really sinister look on her face, ends the chapter by saying, perhaps fear to you is something that is not capable of fear. Dun dun dun. And that is the end of the chapter. I'm going to drop a 10 on it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I predicted a Rukia versus Äs Nödt fight. Just seeing Az again is great. Getting more of his personality, more of the way he works. And also getting that really great bit at the beginning with NaNaNa and Renji. That's going to set up a pretty interesting battle, I think. I think NaNaNa will probably win that. Now, what do I think is actually going to happen now? Is Rukia honestly saying she can't feel fear? Because that is utter rubbish, if that's true. I think it's a bluff on her part. It has to be a bluff. Unless the Royal Guard set her up to fight Äs Nödt and somehow got rid of fear. But if that's true, I'm going to be pissed. Now, needless to say, I don't think Rukia is going to defeat Az. I still think that has to be Byakuya. Or even he'll come down and help her out. But I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I think Rukia's going to throw a Bankai. I think it's going to happen, and I want to throw a prediction now that if she does, it's going to be a Scythe. To harken back to her original design. But, you know, that's not important right now. she can apparently somehow overcome Äs Nödt's fear, and I want a damn good explanation, because I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be possible. I don't think it's going to be possible. But for the most part, I was really happy with the chapter. I mean, not a lot happened. They just set up the fight between Rukia and Äs, which hopefully will last as long as Master Masculine, because Äs is infinitely more interesting than Master Masculine. We still need to see under his mask. But yeah, no, I'm very excited for this, because I called it, and I wanted it to happen. And in some ways, well, because there's another thing. If Rukia defeats Byakuya, then what was the point? No, not Byakuya. If Rukia defeats Äs Nödt, then what was the point in keeping Byakuya alive? That's just another. That's kind of another thing. Other than to have Äs Nödt have that absolutely stellar line, "I'm lonely, where's my Senbon Sakura?" That's a great line. But yeah, no, I definitely think Byakuya needs to finish Äs Nödt off. So I hope we get a pretty lengthy fight with Äs and Rukia, but I just don't see Rukia winning. Even though she can somehow bullshitly get past his fear, which I think is rubbish. I don't think it's going to happen at all. But as for my panel of the week, well, there's lots, because Äs is such a great character, and has such a great design, and has such great facial expressions, and is very animated in what he does. Now, we haven't actually had any fear imagery yet, which we'll probably get later on. Apart from the grabbing her hand, that was cool. But we haven't actually had any imagery yet. However, my actual Äs picture is either going to be... Well, actually, no, I like the expressions. It's kind of difficult to say, though. I like the one where he brings out his light arrows. That's very cool. That is very cool. I like that one a lot. And they do go all the way around him now as well, rather than in the initial invasion he had about 6 that were like that. Now they go all the way around. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens next. What did you guys think about the chapter? Let me know in the comments below. Are you happy with Rukia fighting Äs? What do you think of Äs as a character now that you've been shown more often? Not more often, more. Renji and NaNaNa, is that going to interest you at all? Just let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and give the video a thumbs up. That would be great. But yeah, I'm dropping a 10 on this, guys. I know, I don't have anything wrong with it. So yeah, great chapter. And, just for fun, let me know in the comments, what is your fear? I don't like spiders. So if Äs brings that out, great. No, but seriously, guys, I shall catch you guys later. But until next week, see you then.